You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Right, Chris.
Already. You can tell I'm not used to this, can't you? There I am, just about. I've got to get used to all this again. It's been a while, and I've forgotten what to press and which buttons to squeeze and which knobs to turn. And it's why I'm walking funny. But good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, goodbye. And for those of you that know where I've been for the last month, good day, possums. Hello, how are you all, wherever you are in the world? One of those will apply to you. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us live on YouTube, if that is how you are watching us. And please join in with the show and add your comments in the chat. Keep them respective, of course. That's all we ask. But do join in, and we'll try and include as many comments as we can as we go through. No match this weekend. A bit of international football. That was a waste of time last night, wasn't it? I mean, God's sake, if we can't beat Greece, then you're not the one that I want. See what I did there? Yes, you missed me. You missed me. I certainly will tell you one thing, though. I mean, England weren't playing like Grease Lightning, and it certainly wasn't a summer night. Oh, but look, fans, I'm hopelessly devoted to you, which is why I'm back. I didn't want to come back, but I am. How the devil goes. So we're going to sneak in a little bit of a different programme tonight, because it is 7 games into the season, which is actually about just short of 20% of the season gone already. And as we've got no match to follow this weekend, we are going to be doing a review of my predictions at the start of the season, where I thought the teams would finish, how they are doing compared to that. And, of course, we're going to have Bradders in. He's going to be joining me in a second, and he's going to be giving his ratings. Starting with A and going down to F, which he assures me does mean you're fucking awful. So we'll see what he gives to each of the teams. I think there's probably one or two that you can guess what they are. And also, again, if you have been following my exploits from Down Under, and I must admit I was very big Down Under, but hey, I don't like to brag. You will know that I have been testing ciders out. And not that I wanted to, but just for my followers on Facebook, I thought, I'd do it as a service. So I was trying some local ciders. There were some very nice ones. There were some not so nice ones. There was some Strongbow, which I've got to be honest with you, the Australian Strongbow was bloody nice. A hell of a lot better than the English Strongbow. And then I ran out of ciders, so I had to go on to lager. But coming back here, I thought, what can I do? So look, I don't know if anybody, put your hands up if you watch Clarkson's Farm. What a great series. And of course, he's got his own lager and he's got his own cider. Caleb's done the cider. Jeremy has done the lager. So I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this out, see what it's like, and I will give you my opinion probably about halfway during the show. But let me just, I haven't even tried it yet. So this is going to be my first sip of Clarkson's Farms Hawkstone Cider. It's a very, very nice big bottle. It's suitable for vegetarians, apparently. Vegans, it's a 500ml bottle. It's 5%. So let's just have a little. Let me just put a little bit through my lips. Hey, thank you, madam. I always say if you're going to have one taste, you've got to have another one just to make sure. I will give you my thoughts, like I say, halfway during the show. I'm going to say hi to Kyle. How are you? Thank you very much. It's nice to be back. Nice. Craig is in. Hi, Craig. I hope you didn't have jet lag when you came back. I haven't. I have been sleeping normally at night, but I've also been sleeping during the day. I've been sleeping something like 10, 11 hours a day, literally. I did combat business class. I treated myself, so it was very, very nice to sort of have that little bit of luxury at the end, and the difference between that and economy. Whoa. Craig said it's a nice cider. He's had some. Well, I'll let you know. Remind me when we get to position number 10. And Ray's in. Welcome back, Chris. Cheers. Welcome back, Ray. Right, he's here. He's there. He's every bloody where. A big thank you to him for standing in for me whilst I've been away. Hopefully, he managed to clean it all off the bottom of his shoes. This is Leicester Till I Die with Let's Talk Leicester Extra. Brad, good evening, sir.
Good evening. I don't know who you are though, mate. I'm waiting for some bloke who's been left in the world down under to return back. I mean, you was only gone for a month, but people are saying hashtag Bradford watch-alongs. Who the fuck is Chris and stuff like that? But apparently you're back, mate. You are back from the land down under.
You know what the Leicester fan base is like, don't you?
Yeah, fickle. If I disappear for a month, I'll forget who I am as well. It's all right, mate.
Exactly. I tell you what, I was actually going to wear white to show off my reasonable suntan, but white doesn't really work with the cameras and the lights, so I look like I look like
you look like a ghost with a human head if you wore white.
Yeah, exactly. Craig says super Brad. Well, I've got to say, look, talking about superheroes, Brad, who are you trying to be here?
Well, I'm supposed to be the psychic butterfly there. That's what I was trying to see. And it seems to be working on the predictions leagues, Mr. 4 points average man, doesn't it? Although, to be fair, Chris, I had the opportunity to tear you down, and I made a point of making note that people knew you were giving me these weeks and weeks in advance. And you actually didn't do that bad, to be honest with you. You was on par with most people. In fact, I only think there was 1 week out of the 4 that you've missed where someone got double figures. So, to be honest with you, you're just doing as bad as you were the first week. It's just not enough to catch up to the rest.
No, and in my defence as well, like you said quite rightly, and thank you very much, I did give you these 4 weeks in advance, so I've got absolutely no form to go on at all.
I'd like to say that you miraculously improved as the weeks went on, but unfortunately, you were steady Eddie. Who
the bloody hell thought Forest would beat Liverpool again? Come on, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the same people that predict Brentford and West Ham to draw 1-1 and pick up 3 points.
I don't know who that would be.
I don't know. It's not like I was aiming at anyone in particular.
Oh, you haven't changed. Good evening, sir, says Rabbit Man. If us Ipswich keep playing out from the back, we'll definitely be relegated. I'm surprised at Ipswich, but we will get on to them later. Hi, lads. How you doing? And Carl says, it's nice to see you again, Brad. Yeah, you're just being polite there, Kyle, aren't you? Look, we're going to get to Leicester later. We're going to start at the top. Of course we are, because that means it takes us longer to get to Leicester and make sure everybody stops watching. But you're going to give your ratings for each of the teams as we go through them from A to F for fucking awful, aren't you? So, and give your thoughts on the season. But can you believe we're 20% of the way through the season almost?
Scary, isn't it? We wouldn't even be 10-15% through a championship season, and yet in the Premier League, different ball game, different animal, less teams. It's how it works out. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, Chris? I mean, to think we're 28% through the season, and we've already had. Sorry, I forgot. I was halfway through my train of thought, and I meant to say 2 really interesting international breaks, but I couldn't help myself and fell asleep thinking about it. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's some. I don't know what's more ridiculous: the fact that we're 20% of the way through the season, or the fact that we're not even halfway through October and we've already had 2 international breaks.
I know. I mean, 7 games into the season, we've had 2 international breaks. What the heck is going on?
It's worse, Chris. 14th of November, so the weekend. The weekend before that is will be when the next one is. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I must admit, just edging away slightly as we always do on these shows, of course.
How many of them you had, slightly?
Slightly, honestly, it's good. It's good stuff, this Hawkston, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to call you out for this, right? You can tell he's an Australian in him because he now calls Marmite Yegimite. No, it's not yet Vegemite. That's the Australian term for Marmite. They need to grow up and call it Marmite, not Vegemite.
I have actually.
I saw the Facebook post. Exposed. Yeah. # exposed.
No. I will let me defend myself here, because I've got to say that I did ask Jane and Phil, who were putting me up for the 3 weeks, and thanks to them, they were absolutely brilliant hosts. And Luke, obviously, for Perth for a couple of nights as well, and Steph. But she did say, what do you want for your breakfast? What cereal? So I told her what cereals to get, and then literally only had them one morning out of 21, because I literally Vegemite on toast. I don't know what, but I absolutely love it, and it is so much better than Marmite.
You know what? You're lucky I don't have access to the StreamYard again, otherwise I'd be kicking you out for saying that, because Marmite is just no.
Yes.
People in the comments, #Vegemite, #Marmite. I'm not saying that because we're UK bias. Australians.
Yeah, exactly. How many people will have actually tried Vegemite? Look, if anybody wants to pop down, I've got a couple of jars of Vegemite. I've got some bread, although Luke told me for doing my Vegemite wrong.
I mean, to be fair, I saw the review and it was a 3 out of 10, Chris. Not enough Marmite, too much butter. What the proportions
were all wrong. Though, but no, that's the idea. You don't have too much Vegemite on. You just gently put it on, but you put lashings of butter on. And I did say to Luke that I won't take cooking lessons off somebody whose national sport is a very fancy version of football where they can pick the balls up and have got 4 goalposts. But there we go. Hey, look. Anyway, Vegemite.
Marmite. Okay. This is a football show, ladies and gentlemen. Just
welcome to Ainsley Harriet's world.
Welcome to LTRD presents Premier League Bake Off.
It's a little bit like who was the gentleman that Nippon? This is the Nippon taking over the channel.
Don't go that route. We'll have no viewers by the time you mention his name. But if you want to do famous advertisement of false beers, I do not like Brewdog IPA. I do not like their fruit cider, but the cold beer, now it is a lovely 3.4%. So Brewdog, not a sponsored show, but this, as Chris Jericho once said on AEW, is a little bit of the bubbly.
Jeremy, if you're watching, Get in there. But we're losing viewers left, right, and centre. Let's get on to the football. Mel is in. Good evening, Mel. Mel, she said to me, I should go to Canada next. If you're going to invite me over and put me up, I'm more than welcome to come and explore your beautiful country. But
she's not that eager, mate.
Sorry?
She's not that eager.
No, she didn't. I actually put that on the post in reply to her, and she never got back to me, so I don't blame her. Right. Okay, let's start at the top. Liverpool. Well, Jurgen who? I got to be honest with you, I thought they would struggle, having had Melina, love you. Look at that.
Yeah, that's not aimed at you though, Chris. She never say her name.
But it's not bloody aimed at you, is it?
That's very true.
But look, no, Liverpool, top of the pile after 7 games, 6 wins, 1 loss, somehow to Forest. 13 goals scored. Not the highest. Even Chelsea has scored more, but only 2 conceded. I thought they would really, really struggle after Jurgen left because he was such a, I think a bit like when Martin O'Neill left us. Because, obviously he wasn't sacked. He went of his own accord, like Jamaica. And I have got them actually to finish 5th. But I think I've probably been a little bit unfair on early season form. Your marks for Liverpool?
It's a difficult one because the problem is it's easy to go on comparison, isn't it? And I've already said this to Doug. Arne Slot is giving me Ranieri vibes. He wasn't able, or for whatever reason, they weren't entrusting him, or they weren't able to. Whatever the reason is, they didn't buy in the summer transfer window. Now, Ranieri, with the Great Escape, sort of rode the momentum and kind of took a back. In most fans' eyes, let's be honest here, I give him a lot more credit than most do, and that's not just trying to pull punches or anything or whatever, or have a dig at people. But a lot of people said, yeah, Ranieri did great. He won us the league, obviously, but he kind of just was a backseat driver to the Pearson side that had the momentum from the Great Escape. There is still a lot to be seen from Arne Slot. Because, yes, conceded 2 is brilliant. Losing to Forest is unforgivable from a Leicester standpoint. Will it go long term? I don't think it does. I think a bit like Klopp's first season, a bit like Pep's first season at Man City, he will do well. I predicted in my own right for them to finish 3rd behind 2 other teams. Obviously, I won't say them even.
No, I thought you said they're going to finish 3rd behind 5 teams.
I know. But behind 2 teams who are probably everybody's obvious is more obvious choice for 1st and 2nd.
Yes.
Too early to tell, but I am going to give them a B+
on the season so far.
So far, I'm going to give them a B+ because they haven't enamored me. Yes, I know that sounds crazy. You lost 1, won the rest. They haven't blown anybody away though, Chris, have they? They haven't blown a team out the water. Even
get
Wolves,
3 points for 1-0. No, don't you?
Of course. I mean, win's a win. It doesn't matter if you win 1-0, 6-0. The points are still the same. But for me, when Liverpool won the league during the COVID season, or when they got 98 points, I think it was, when they really pushed Man City all the way, they were blowing teams out the water. They were getting the 3-0s, the 4-0s, the 5-0s. They were getting comfortable wins. And even against the last team on our list that we're going to talk about, Wolves, they didn't enamor me. They didn't blow Wolves out of the water. For long periods of that game, Wolves are right in the contest. Whether it, you could say to me, oh yeah, Brad Liverpool had 20 chances, Wolves had 2. Well, the score was 1-1.
Yeah.
The score was 1-1 for a long period in that game.
And
I feel like eventually, and maybe in 3 months' time, Chris, I'll be giving them an A+ because they will have done what I'm going to say, or I'll be going down a grade or staying where I am, because right now, that pendulum's only going to swing one or two ways. They're either going to steadily improve and then 3-0 wins and 4-1 wins are going to go, or they're going to do Forest results and draw games.
I love your not
I
euphemisms.
know my analogies. They're brilliant.
You'll either improve the rating, you'll either reduce the rating, or leave it the same. Really,
I know. I'm not the Michael Owen of the world of my decision making. But you know what I mean,
Have you not got
Chris?
one of those pendulums that swings like three ways? And they're the
Well,
latest.
it's a pendulum does this. It either goes up and then goes.
No, it goes side to side. That's a pendulum.
I couldn't be asked to do that way. But my pendulum goes up, thought about it, up, maybe not, up, maybe not, makes its mind up. You know, it's a bit like a woman's mind. It can't make its mind up. I'm going to give him a B+ because respectfully, top of the
that's fine.
doing well, but
it is your decision, and they've got Chelsea in a week's time as well.
I thought I'd say that against Chelsea, but come on, Liverpool.
Yes, Paul. Hi, how you doing? Good day to you as well. How you doing, Possum? Scott, just for debate purposes, what do they call a roll cob barn bop over in Australia? They probably call it bread because I don't think they have. I never in 3.5 weeks saw one cob. But whatever you want to, I call it.
And do you know what? I'm going to put an end in my own philosophical way, and I used a big word there, so appreciate that, and I said it right. The reason I believe we should call it a cob, it's not the definition of it, but for my opinion, the word cob should abbreviate to combination on bread, because it makes sense, doesn't it? You're putting a combination of ingredients. No, think about it. You've got bread at the top, your ingredients, which is a combination of sauce, lettuce, ham, whatever you want, and then bread at the top. You put a combination between bread. So combination on bread, is that not what cob should really stand for? We're going to start. Scott started debating comments now.
Let's move on now. I've got nothing, Scott. I've got to be honest with you. I've got nothing on that one. Right. Second, Manchester City, where you'd probably expect them to be. I've got them as finishing second this season, which will probably tell you where I think the title is going. Play 7, 1-5, drawn 2, a point behind the pool. Actually, I had them as finishing second. They've had a couple of draws, which probably surprising. They drew with Arsenal, which probably didn't do either of them any good, to be honest with you. And they could only draw away to Newcastle. Your thoughts on Man City? Are they going to do it and completely turning the Premier League into the Scottish Premier League?
I have to grade them and forget their charges they're against, because if I try and take the potential 115 charges being put against them this season, I don't think they win the league.
No, of course. But we'll forget those for now, you know.
Yeah. Taking it off points, principle, and games, Man City are notorious slow starters. If you are going to have any advantage of them going into the last final quarter of the season, you need to be making you need to be taking advantage of Man City dropping points early doors, because once the first quarter or so of the season goes, Chris, they don't drop points. You look at their history record over the last 4 or 5 seasons, which they've won the Premier League, by the way. They just don't do it. It's like it's immune in their system to know how to drop points after the first 10, 15 games of the season. They're a different breed. Yes, Rodri injury is a big deal in terms of that position, but they lost Kevin De Bruyne for 3/4 of the season last season and they still won the league. They had Haaland out at spaces last season, still won the league. One man in that team certainly does not completely, being out injured does not completely derail their season. Barring a points deduction, same again. Scottish Premier League in England, an A. Because they're just doing what Man City have done for the past 5 years, mate. Drop a few points here and there. Probably won't lose a game now to the end of the season.
No, it's a fair point. So you've so far given Liverpool a B plus and Manchester an A. And don't forget, guys, if you're watching, this is just on the start to the season. Third are Arsenal, who, well, you can probably guess with I've got Liverpool fifth, Man City second, who I've got winning the damn thing, which is Arsenal. I honestly thought it was their time this season. They have, well, they've given Arteta an extension, and I'm not just saying this because I want Molina to put me up for a couple of weeks, but I do think this could be their season. I hope it's their season because I'm fed up with Man City. They've drawn two, the same as Arsenal, as Man City, sorry, but their goal difference isn't quite, well, it's the same. So I don't know. Oh, yeah, Man City are above them because of goals scored. The two that they've dropped were, obviously, I would say Man City, and also the other one was Brighton and Hove Albion, who we'll obviously come on to soon. For me, that Man City game was a big game because they don't usually win those, do they? They usually struggle when they play City. And then you get all the Arsenal fans on going out, Arteta out, Arteta out. So fair play, they got the point there, and that was actually at Man City. Like I say, I had them finishing first. Your thoughts on them so far this season?
If I was rating the fan base minus the minority like Molina, I'd give them an F because the fan base is so ungrateful. They deserve relegation. But in terms of performances on the pitch, ultimately, I think dropping points against teams like you mentioned, Brighton, I think they'll have too many points dropped against teams like Brighton. They nearly dropped points against us. And people will say, oh, yeah, but they had 36 shots to your 6. Still was 2-2 going into the 90th minute.
Yeah.
And that, for me, they've shown enough. They are wasteful in front of goal. And that's ultimately, by the narrowest and harshest of margins, what cost Liverpool when Man City, hit the century mark in that season. It was being wasteful in front of goal in games where they did drop points, which won't be many for Arsenal this season. They are going to come second guaranteed. I, like you, Chris, would like to see them win it. I am a big Arteta fan. I think he's proven the doubt is wrong. I would give the fan base an F because they're just undisturbing. They're like a rich kid, ungrateful. They're ungrateful of what he's doing to them because Arsene Wenger for the last 7 or 8 seasons had them nowhere near second.
Yeah.
So apart from that,
and let's be honest with you, in a normal non-Manchester City buying everything period,
they would win the division more times than not, Chris.
Yes, exactly.
And I am going to be very generous here, and I'm going to make Arsenal fans throw up in the mouths like Luca. A plus.
A plus. Ooh, you are completely confusing me because you got the team that's top only giving them a B plus.
I'm kind of going off form and what I've seen of them this season. Yes,
no. I'm not blaming you because, like I say, this is football's about opinions, and these your opinions is what we're counting today. But Man City an A, Arsenal an A plus. This next one's going to be interesting because we all hate them for obvious reasons. And that's I don't know who's manager there at the moment. It's probably he would get a long service award if he lasts another 2 games. But Chelsea, I had Chelsea finishing down in 8th. I really thought Enzo Ball would not go down well at Chelsea. And, everybody was saying, I did a program the other day, the debate show with Craig and Kate. And everybody that was in the chat was saying, like, well, if we'd got Enzo here, we'd have lost every single game because Enzo Ball isn't going to work. Well, it kind of is working at Chelsea. 1-4, drawn 2, lost 1. A bit of a slow start, but they're up to 4th. Yes, if they, they've drawn a couple, and that was Nottingham Forest. They struggled to beat. That they could be a few.
And then Nottingham Forest nearly won it at the end.
And Crystal Palace. I mean, they're a bit of an enigma this season, aren't they? Like I say, for me, they're doing better because I think they were going to finish eighth. But you pulled your face then, you're not agreeing with that.
No, I'm not. I think it's a false position, and here's why. Two results you just mentioned, they could not put away a 10-man Nottingham Forest. Hi to Luke there, just so he put his comment up. Forest nearly nicked it at the end. They couldn't beat Salatape FC in Europe. That took a very lucky aggregate score to get through in Europa. And it's not too dissimilar to how we were under Enzo last season. You know, they'd win a few games, and then we'd play a Plymouth Argyle and struggle to hold our own. So I see the collapse. I see the Pochettino effect where they go on a bad run. That for me, I can still see eighth. I can still see eighth. I can still see 6th to 8th being the end result. Yes, they've been impressive in games, but they've been ultimately just as dire in games so far this season in all competitions. I'm giving hit. I'm going to take my Enzo hatred glasses off here, and I'm being brutally honest. I'm going to give them a B because they're higher than I expected them to be under Enzo Ball. But I agree with fans, and it's the same aspect you could use from Burnley last season under Company. That style of football only works when you've got 400,000 million players to swap in a talent pool compared to Leicester's 25.
Yeah. Oh, fair play, fair play. A B. Yep, like you said. Hi, Luke. How the devil are you? Hope you are well. And Spencer's in. Hi, Spencer. How are you doing? Nice to see you again. Right. Fifth place at the moment, it's the villains, Aston Villa. Enjoying life in the Champions League at the moment, and they're enjoying life back in, the Premier League. I'd got them as finishing third this season, which they could still do. They've only lost the one game. They have drawn the last two, though, and they got Fulham up next, but they have won 4. Tielemans starting to, play well for them. Can they do another good season? I mean, they've got a great manager in Emery. I think Arsenal probably did regret letting him go, to be honest with you. But look, he's there now. I think he's doing a great job at Villa. What do you think of their season so far?
I'll be honest, hands up. I thought Villa would struggle. I thought the European football would take its toll on it, and it might still, but it might be the reverse effect of how it normally does. They might concentrate on trying to make sure they maintain that for next season. They might not do so well in the Champions League. I can still see them getting through the new league format. I'm impressed with Emery as a manager. I agree with what you said about him. Obviously, it still worked out for Arsenal, but had Arsenal been patient with Emery, I think he would have had them up there challenging for titles. And I think he's going to have Aston Villa top 5 quite easily. I think he's going to have them there. They've been really, really good this season. And again, you're asking me to judge off my expectation to where they are at this point in the season, not necessarily where they are in the league overall. Top of the class for me, Unai Emery. Even proving it in the Champions League, beating Bayern Munich. So I'm going to give him an A+. Very impressive. And I would back Villa to finish exactly where they are. In fact, swap them with Chelsea. I'd have them top 4 right now off the 7 games they played.
Well, I'd say I've got them finishing third, or I had them finishing third, and I don't have any problem with that Villa doing well. I don't understand at all this new Champions League format. I just don't know why, when things aren't broken, they have to be mended. I just it buggers belief. Just leave it as it is. And I know they were trying to make it so the teams didn't go off and form their own super leagues and what have you. But Does it make any sense, this new league? Don't.
Yeah, it does, because for me, it gives. This is more beneficial for leagues of less caliber. This isn't, if you're looking at it from a Premier League perspective, it actually benefits us as well, because we get more coefficient spots towards the competitions. Again, I know it's a simulation, I know it's a game, but if it works out that England get the most coefficient points, we could have over just under half of the Premier League playing European football next season. It can run down from first to eighth, and that's including Europa and Conference League. But this means that, for example, to give an example, to use a Premier League team here, let's just say, I'm looking at a low league side, but I realise Manchester United are really low down. But let's just say Ipswich, for example, for the giggles of it all, were to win the Carabao Cup, which I believe puts them in Europa Conference League, right? I know this is an extreme example I'm going to give, but in the Champions League draw, they would have a chance to be in a group with Real Madrid, Atalanta, Juventus, and Ipswich. Well, they've got no chance of getting out of that group, have they? In a four-man group, they got no chance of getting out of that group and into the next stage of the Champions League. Now, if you say that they're going to play 8 games against Genoa, 1 against Real Madrid, and 6 other easier teams, they've got a chance of at least making the qualifying round, knockout stages for the tournaments below. I think it's more fairer for them teams, because they don't get the luxury like the Premier League, the Swedish, the Norwegian leagues, all these other leagues. They get 1 spot, some of them. They don't get 8 spots like England do for European competitions. They get flat 3. So I think it benefits the lower seeded teams, if that makes sense. If a Brentford were to win the FA Cup, they at least get a good chance and a shot to build up their European stature. I actually think this benefits teams like that, because it has no effect on a Real Madrid or a Man City, because they're up there. They're always going to be Champions League. But for a team that, like, what was that Sheriff team that beat Real Madrid? But I think they came 3rd or 4th in the group, so it didn't matter. At least in this format, they have a chance of coming 12th and having a playoff to get in the Champions League next round, or drop into Europa League.
But look, from what you've just been saying, hang on a second, let me just get the rule book out and what have you. So if A beats B divided by C multiplied by D, then if we take away F but add on Z, and then actually, depending how Y does, might go through. I mean, fuck. No, I have to disagree with you.
Okay, better.
At the end of the day, there's 4 in a group. The top 2 go through, and the bottom 2 go out. I mean, one thing I do agree with is that you don't now drop into the lower, like from the Champions League to the Europa League or anything. But
that's what it does. That delegates the position.
So if you are saying then that Sheriff get through, and maybe even get through to the quarterfinals like Leicester did, they didn't do it on merit. They did it because we gave them an easy draw.
Well, no, because the draw is completely random. There's not a seeding to it. It's a group draw. You look at Liverpool, Villa, for instance, finishing the top 4. They would have got the same sort of pot that anyone would have got in the Champions League for us, because we were only really seeded because we won the league. Otherwise, we'd have got a harder group than we got in there, and they got Bayern Munich and beat them.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, Chris, is if it's going to have ups and downs, and I get that. But if you was to take the Premier League as it is now, let me just and tell you what, I'll hide my ugly face from the viewers. But let's just say in Premier League terms, you went to the top. Let's say you split it in half. Are you telling me that if you drew the top 10 to play each other against each other in a fixture, is it going to be the same old Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, or from results that we're discussing and have discussed prior, do Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, even as low down as Forest, do they have a chance of actually creating history and building the reputation of English football? Saying actually they might not qualify every year through the old Champions League resume, but we give them a go in a league format and they play Juventus, AC, Bayern Munich, and Borussia Dortmund, and in the next 4 they play 4 teams that aren't as well known. They've got a chance of actually showing us what they're capable of. I think it's better. Some people think it's for the worse. We're going to have to agree to disagree, I think, because that could be a whole show. We could do a whole show on it, mate. We really could. We could do a whole show.
We'll have to. We'll have to. I don't understand it. I'm not claiming I do. Look, I mean, FM. Hi, FM. By the way, how are you? It's good to be back. Thank you very much. Bad time for an international break following the win. Well, that's just typical Leicester's luck, isn't it? I'm very much a guy who thinks the older way is better, but I've been convinced by the new Champions League format. It's more interesting to have random home and away games. It's probably too big, though. Now, I say to me, if you play in a team, I mean, if you're playing Real Madrid away, but then your home game is against Blot Glimt from Norway, no, that's not fair because your Real Madrid's going to be a lot tougher game. I've got a way that this can be sorted out. If you've got 32 teams in the Champions League, give them all a ball number, put them in a bag, and draw them out. So A plays Z, Y plays X, P plays T, like the FA Cup. And when they go through, you draw the next round.
Wow,
that's all you're going to do.
Like
but, I mean, it would make a very boring, UEFA introduction for the Champions League because it wouldn't last 3.5 hours like they do now. So no, I just think it's making it. I mean, I'm still going back to the fact that there should only be Manchester City in the Champions League and the rest should be in the Europa League.
I mean, if you're going to ask me what my preferred term is, the clues in the question, it's called the Champions League, not the top 4 league.
Yes. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I agree with you.
But anyway, we'll move on. We'll agree, like you say, to disagree. Brighton and Hove Albion, who are the team who are actually at the moment, having said all that, they are the team that is sat in the Conference League place or the Carabao Cup winner place, whichever that is. And I say that is Brighton. 1-3, drawn 3, lost 1, goal difference of 3. The last 5, they've drawn, they've lost, they've won. I thought they started off reasonably well, had some good results. They seem to have gone off the boil a little bit. I'd got them finishing 13th, so they're doing a lot better than I thought they would do. I'm just worried that I want them to do better now because I don't want them coming back for Buenete.
Oh yeah, I'd hope that as well. I'd hope that Leicester can stay up first of all, and then turn around to Brighton and test their resolve on him because he looks quality. I mean, he's made it into Team of the Week. Congratulations, Buenete, on the Argentine call up as well. He got called up to the international squad over the weekend. Very deserved. I agree with you though, Chris. The boil, it's boiled over. The hype, the excitement, the surprise, and I've had to eat humble pie because I thought he would be a disaster stroke, not a master stroke. However, I do feel like the gloss is wearing off. I mean, it was a high entertaining game against Chelsea, but let's face it, Cole Palmer FC put them to the sword before they had a chance. And that's one thing why I rated Chelsea lower. It's not because of Enzo and all the ex-Leicester players there. It's because of the fact that take Cole Palmer out of that side and they're lower than us in the league. But Brighton, if you'd have asked me this 2 games ago, probably would have been an A-star. But I can just see the cracks in the paintwork. So I'm going to give them a B. I'm going to a B for Brighton. There
you go. Yeah, I mean, their last 5 is drawn, lost 1. So that won't keep them in the top if they keep that performance up. In 7th place, and this is one that I'm going to pat myself on the back, and I've not done that since I fell over in a cow field. I'm back. I'm back, everybody. Is Newcastle United in 7th, and I predicted that is where they'll finish the season. Same as Brighton, 3-3-1. They're struggling in the goal front. 8 goals scored and 7 conceded. The lowest scorers so far, even scored less than Fulham. And they've drawn the last 2, but only won 2 of the last 5. Like I say, they're pretty much where I think they'll finish the season. And if they do finish it there, it will be interesting to see what happens with Eddie Howe.
Yeah, this is probably come a season or 2 after most people expect it to happen. But this could be the season where he doesn't do a lot wrong, but the Saudi owners get a bit bored.
Yeah.
This could be the season, and it might be the end of the season. I can't see, unless something drastic happens, them sacking him. But I can maybe see at the end of the season, pastures new, as they say. Ready how? There's a certain job up for grabs of an international circuit. I'm sure he'll be happily ready to take if he is dismissed or let go by Newcastle. But they have struggled. I mean, Bournemouth, Chris, thanks Bournemouth, by the way. But Bournemouth were robbed. Bournemouth were robbed against them. It was never, ever a penalty, which is maybe why they got the bus signal not given against us at the weekend. Because I don't know if you've seen it, Chris, because they conveniently cut it out, the highlights. But when a Bournemouth bloke's signalling for the bus to pull over and stop and handballs it and it's not given, I don't know what the world's coming to. But anyway, I digress with the Bournemouth situation. Flattering they're not living up to the expectation and hype. Again, I don't think they'll have a bad season. I just don't think they'll manage to reach the heights that they did last season. I'm going to give them a C.
A C. Funny enough, they've got Brighton next. So...
Well, maybe that will brighten up their season. It's you, Chris. You've been back in my life for a day and a half with your crap jokes, and it's contagious.
You know, Jane hates my jokes, but by the time I'd left, her husband, Phil, who doesn't normally say jokes like that, was joining in, I'll tell you. I think the funny thing with Newcastle, not funny ha-ha, but funny strange, is that if you'd given them this sort of season, where they were finishing 6th, 7th, a couple of seasons ago, they would have been more than happy.
They'd have killed for it, Chris.
Yeah. But I think now the fact of the money that they've got behind them, obviously, and things like that, I think, you know what fans are like. And Leicester fans were like this when we won the league. Like, well, we should be winning it every season going forward, and I think Newcastle fans, they did change. They will say they didn't, but I've got to be honest with you, a lot of them did change to the mini Man United fans. Well, we've got the money now, so we're going to win it, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think that could be the problem. And I think if the fans turn on Eddie Howe, and they could do, as much as they say they love him now, they were to finish 10th mid-table, yeah, I think there could be trouble at St James's Park. There could be trouble ahead. Now, a team, and FM says, to be fair, for a man who's been a comedian, I laughed. You've just got to believe the line more, Brad. Oh, FM, I like you. I like you, I like you, I like you. Yeah, Fulham are in 8th. I had them finishing 11th, so they're doing better than I predict them to finish the season. I thought they started off really well. They literally made us look like we were a Sunday League team. I thought that was one of our worst performances I've seen for a long, long time. 1-3, drawn 2, lost 2, scored 10, conceded 8, 11 points, and they did lose at last time out to Manchester City. But in fairness, it was 3-2. It was tight again, so fair play. I think Fulham, though I think they have maybe gone off a little bit, but I think they're going to have a good season.
Yeah, I was impressed with their transfer action, minus Adama Traore, who must have been brought in for baby oil money. Because that guy likes to lube his arms up with baby oil. Johnson's must be stock must be, through the roof. But I mean, Emil Smith Rowe,
Yeah.
you
And
kind of
great
had to.
signings they made, didn't
Yeah,
they?
great signings. I mean, Jimenez they got from Wolves, who obviously had that horrific injury. He's slowly looking like he's getting back to the player that Wolves fans knew and loved. And I think they'll have a great season, Chris. We've talked about your Brightons in the past being your dark horses for Europe. Keep an eye on Fulham. Keep an eye on Fulham, because I will tell you this from tallying up points throughout the first 7 games. They are the bogey team of the prediction league. They really are. We have 18. Well, I say 18. Dave does compete because of sympathy towards you, I think, in that perspective. But they are the bogey team for most people in predicting their results, because when you think they're going to stutter or drop some points, they go and blow teams out the water like they did Forest. And, all things considered, Chris, I agree with you. Our worst performance throughout the whole entire 90 minutes was against Fulham. It was the only game of the season that I felt we weren't contesting a 45 minutes, even against Arsenal. We a lot of Arsenal fans were like, at the end of it, were saying, "Oh, thank God we got away with that one," because Leicester really came at us in the second half. Fulham was a game where we came on, did the post match and the review, and I said we just didn't feel like we laid a glove on them. Somehow we went 1-0 up throughout phase. I am going to give them an A. Manager, great. Signings, great. Style of play, great. And I think you'll see a lot more in the W and the W and the D column than you will the L column this season for them. I think they'll have a really good season. Outside favourites to sneak into Europe.
Really?
Mm.
Well, I wouldn't argue with you on that.
Good, because you're not allowed to.
No, it's not in my contract. I think this next team actually does deserve a bit of a special introduction, and if my video will load a little bit quicker, I might even be able to fit it in, because we are looking at 9th position now, and of course, anybody's Spursy, it is Tottenham Hotspur, and I can only play one. Please load quickly. Come on, I'm running out of things to say here. There we go. This is how I'm going to introduce them.
Viewers, apologize. I'm continue.
I mean, I actually thought this could be the season when they might do well. I had them finishing 4th, mad devil that I am. I mean, he said he always wins things second season wherever he goes. I don't know that they're planning to do, an egg and spoon race at the end of the season. He might actually win that. I mean, how can you be 2-0 up away to a club and then lose 3-2?
I don't know. Ask Everton.
Yeah.
But
Or else against Tottenham, in fairness. But I mean,
no.
it's awful, isn't it? I mean, they're not going to get top 4. No, not if they carry on like they are.
Yeah, mate. I win things in my second season. Yeah, mate. I'm gonna make sure Spurs win the top half of the bottom half of the table. Yeah, mate. I'm gonna make sure Spurs finish 12th, so we're top of that half.
Can I just say that you didn't ring me earlier, did you? Because I had a dirty phone call that sounded like that.
well. I mean, if it comes up a spam, it was off my other phone. But no, honestly, mate. I said that in a normal voice. Yeah, honestly, mate. That Spurs, just keep on Spurs. And I mean, do I sympathise for Madders a little bit, because he deserves better than what he's getting? Do I also think it's absolutely hilarious and crack up every time I see Spurs so low down on the table? Also, yes. They need to clear out. They need to clear out. They've got to. They've already fobbed off 2 two players to Leicester that aren't European quality. I love Winks, but he's not European quality. He's shown that this season. And the less said about Oliver Skip, the better. But there's a lot that no, sorry, mate. If we pay 2.5 million for him, still not good enough. Anyway, we'll get to that later on. But my point stands, Chris. There's bad, and then the Spurs. D. Awful. Nowhere near. I had them at 8th, 7th, 8th sort of position. And I know they're only a place or two off that, but they look nowhere near it. Chris, they look like they're susceptible to dropping points in every game they've played.
I mean, I can remember we played Tottenham for obviously the first game of the season. Now, actually, somebody had a go at me the other day after one of my. Oh, will you tell your girlfriend to wait until the end of the show? He's ignoring me now. He's ignoring me. Oh, that joke was a bit rough. I do believe I was barking up the wrong tree. But anyway, I probably like Tottenham. You can't hold on to a lead. Hey, thank you. Here all week. I actually got pulled up by somebody who wasn't even a Leicester fan, but he was watching the show, which obviously we don't mind. But he said that I was mad for saying that over our next fixtures that I expect 9 points from Ipswich, Southampton, Nottingham Forest. I stand by that, but Spurs, I thought in that first game, even before the kickoff, that we could get something.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody feels that with Spurs, and that's what I mean. I feel like they're having a disastrous season, and it's not going to get any better. The one thing I would say about Spurs is keep it simple. Don't keep sacking a manager, and just go as it is. You know, they've got to stick by him. They've got to go and trust him to do the job he's going to do, which is, you know, no club can expect any form of success if they've got 3 issues and they keep replacing the one guy who's allowed to fix that issue, i.e., backroom staff, tactics, and the squad. You can't have somebody who's going to fix his backroom staff by bringing his own in, fix the tactics by bringing in his own methods, and clear that squad out in 2 months. It's not plausible. You know, I know he's been there a year, but it's just not on. It's just not on, mate.
Yeah,
it can't be done.
Is this post only available on OnlyFans? Not sure what you mean there. I've missed the jokes. Yeah, right. Quickly speeding up. 10th, halfway there. Team that I had to finish 20th. Actually fooling me, and they're in 10th at the moment, and that is Nottingham Forest. I had them down. Sorry, Luke. I had them down for relegation. I thought this was going to be the season you went down. You completely showed I know absolutely fuck all about football. You did Liverpool again. Brad, not a bad season for them so far.
No, so far so good, annoyingly, for Forest. I'm going to give them a B plus because they're actually doing really well. I think Nunes has revived himself from the funny enough Spurs debacle where he was 97th choice. Gone to Saudi, come back and prove a lot of people wrong.
Yes. In 11th, bottom half of the table, Brentford. 7-3-1-3 with the 1 drawn lost column, 13 scored, 13 conceded. I actually had Brentford for finishing 15th, so they're doing slightly better than I predicted.
Yeah, I mean, again, having a good season. Last season, they were probably thankful that 4 or 5 teams were worse than them. I did say, and I suppose a lot of people did, the Ivan Toney debacle was going to cause them issues, and it did. They just lacked under them. I've got to give them a B plus for it so far. So good for them.
Really? Bloody hell. All right, West Ham in 12th. I had them finishing 9th. I didn't watch it, but Jake from West Ham Unofficial did a thing like, are they better off with than under Moyes? I don't think they are. In fact, I think they're worse than they were under Moyes, and I think they could regret letting him go.
And until last week, mate, they were getting an F. I'm gonna give them an E because yes, they propelled up the table, but a bad weekend could see them back right down, struggling again. Lopetegui has a history of just getting annoyed and sacking the job off and not caring. So yeah, I'm going to give them an E because yes, they're high up the table, but way off where I thought they'd be. You're talking Europa Conference League winners, which doesn't sound like a mean feat, but they're the first English side to do it. They'll always be the first English side to do it. They should be where Brighton are competing for it. So yeah. An E. Oh, I've frozen.
Agreed. Bournemouth, I had them finished. So am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Am I working? Oh, yeah. They're sat in 13th. I had them 12th. I'll just say thank you very much for the 3 points, Bournemouth. Really do appreciate it. How can a team go to Southampton and stuff 3 past them and then come to Leicester, who, again, promoted team, and lose 1-0?
Thank you very much, Bournemouth. I mean, they showed where their struggles are going to be this season. I don't think they're going to miss Solanke. He's more of a hindrance to Spurs than a gain, in my opinion. But they clearly do not have that firepower in front of goal or that clinical edge in front of goal that at least he was sort of providing for them. As expected, I guess would be the score report. I'm going to give them a C.
Let's see. Guess where this one's going, everybody?
F. In fact, 8-star, brilliant job. 10 high, 10 more years.
You mean one Hog?
Well, yeah.
Oh no, 2. He's won 2 cups, only 2 Hog. Or not 2 Hog, that is the question. Man United 14th. I had them finishing 6th. What did I know? I don't think he'll be here at the end of the season.
I don't either. It's kind of weird, isn't it? If you said to me, Brad, 7 games into the season, you're going to be a point behind Manchester United, I'd have thought we're at least top half. But the fact that we're 15th and they're 14th tells you everything I need to say. In terms of hilarity, absolute A-star, 10 more years, give him a lifetime contract, pay him whatever he wants, as Rio Ferdinand said about Ollie. In terms of actual footballing, F. Absolute
F. Yeah, no, I know where you're going from with that. And I've got to be honest with you, mate. Things were a lot better under Ollie.
Well, yeah. Be careful what you wish for, eh?
Indeed, and as Doug said there, spoken like a true Liverpool fan, Doug. My missus reckons Man United have finished as a top 6 club. The problem I think Man United have had since Fergie went is look at the big names that they've had. It isn't the manager; it's something else at the club that is wrong, because they've had big names there. Even Louis van Gaal, he was a big name. Josie was a big name. And none of them are doing it well. So there's something fundamentally wrong with the club. And the problem is, I think they're back to their pre-Alex Ferguson days, where they're just an also-ran club, to be honest with you. Leicester, 15th, mate. I said I was disappointed with this start because when I looked at our first games, Spurs, yeah, I thought we might have got something. Villa, possibly, but fair enough. Arsenal, that was just a free hit. Fulham, Palace, Everton, we should have got more than just 2 points from those 3 games. And I said, and like I said, I was kicked down by some guy, and I don't know what club he supported, but he said it wasn't Leicester. Southampton, Forest, Ipswich, our next 3 games, and 4 if you include Man United, but those 3 games I would expect 9 points from. I had us finishing 17th, we're there or thereabouts in 15th.
I'm going to give us a D+, because I agree we should have picked up points, however, against Everton and Palace. Probably Fulham, but that's probably a bit disrespectful for Fulham considering the praise we gave them. The next 3 games change that. He could become a B+ manager, and we could be going happy days, 9 points out of 9. or we could be sat there going, "Oh Jesus Christ!"
Yeah. If
And
we don't beat Southampton,
sack him.
I want him to go. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're championship waiting to happen.
Yeah. Everton 16th, I had them finishing 14th. They've won one. They could have beaten us, but they didn't. They've drawn 2. They've lost 4. 7 scored, 15 conceded. I mean, that's the thing with Leicester. We've not been out of it. We've conceded 12, but we've scored 9 somehow. Everton, 16th. I had them finishing 14th. What do you give them?
I have put it to you in the private chat just in case. I'm going to give them an E because they picked up the win. They were an F until then, but I still say this: the way it looks now, it looks like the Sean Dyche effect has come to its end. Burnley had them 2-3 seasons in there where he kept them up. They had that random run into Europe where they ironically then faced a Scottish team in their first European adventure. But the following season, straight down, they ran out. The Sean Dyche effect only works for so long. I'm going to give them an E just because I expected them to be 15th, 16th, 17th, and that they're no worse than where they are. They just...
Yeah. I know you've got to go for your food, mate. So thank you very, very much, mate. Enjoy your food, and we'll speak over the weekend, and we'll do something for next week as well.
Yeah, sorry, mate. It turned up earlier than expected, but
that's no problem, mate. No
that's
problem.
What it is. You've got my ratings in the chat anyway, so you can compare.
Yeah, I've seen those, so I'll read them out. Yeah, brilliant, mate. Enjoy your food. Take care, buddy.
Cheers. Take care,
bye-bye. Bye-bye. Right, there we go. Okay, so Brad's had to go. Just make myself. That's that way. There we go. Make myself in the centre. So Ipswich Town, currently 17th. Haven't won a game yet. Hi, Rico, by the way. We should beat the Saints, says Easy. Yes, we should. Ipswich we seem to draw against. Don't we just? Look, the 16th, I had them finishing as 17th. So they're there, they are 17th. I had them finishing as I had them as 16th. They're sat in 17th. Sorry, I'll get it the right way around. They've yet to win. One of 3 teams yet to win. Now, Brad has given them, let me just have a look at this. He has given Everton an E, as we said. Palace, Southampton, Wolves. He hasn't given anything for Ipswich. I'm going to give them a D because, when you look at teams that come up, and yes, the gap is getting bigger, but look, when Blackpool came up, they did very, very well. They should be on that high of having come up. I think that Ipswich have actually bought too many players. They went out on a spending spree, and, I would argue that Leicester have bought players in and not stuck with the team, the players that did well last season, which is the point of, you go with the flow. And if your team's done well, like with the Great Escape with us going on to win the league with just a couple of tweaks and changes, I just think that they've made too many changes, bought too many players. Maybe... just trying to read this. Yeah, I just think they bought too many players. I really do. Throwing money at it. I mean, I wanted Schmodic, but how can you buy a player that's as good as Schmodic or as good as he was in the Premier League, and you end up scoring 6 goals? I don't know how many he has got. So yeah. A bit not disappointed in where we expect them to be. Crystal Palace, I had them finishing 10th this season. I expected them to do a lot better. And they are struggling. They've not won a game yet. It's really surprising. They've only scored 5 goals. Anybody would think they still had Edward playing for them. Only scored 5 goals, conceded 10. I think they've lost their last 2. They should have lost to us. Let's be honest with you. We let them back in that game thanks to Cooper's tactics. But I'm disappointed. Like I said, I had them as 10th. They will get a win. They will get a win soon. They won't go that long. It'll be Southampton or Ipswich that carry on without getting a win, or Wolves even. So yeah, disappointed. And an F there from Brad for Palace. Southampton yet to win. The 3rd out of 4 teams that are yet to win: Ipswich, Palace, and Southampton. 1 point on the board from 1 draw, and that draw for Southampton was against Ipswich. Now, Ipswich and Southampton, if you want to do well, you're going to have to beat those teams. That's what I was saying about Leicester. Southampton, Notts Forest, to a degree, I want to beat them because they're rivals, obviously, and Ipswich. These are teams that we have to win if we want to pull away, because it's going to do 2 things. It's going to knock them back, and it's going to propel us forward. If we're not beating those teams, then Cooper, you need to go. But for Southampton, they're in deep boo-boos. They are in deep boo-boos. Can I just say, by the way, if anybody is interested, although I'm sure you're not, of course, we've got Southampton next. A week on Thursday, so next Thursday we'll be doing the preview, and I have got a very special guest coming in to do that preview. Matt Letitia will be joining me next Thursday at 7 o'clock for the Southampton versus Leicester preview. For those of you that follow Matt, lovely guy, he's going to have plenty to say. He will have plenty to say, I am sure. So next Thursday, 7 o'clock, Matt Letitia with me previewing that game. But it's an F from Brad. Let's just have a look what people are saying here. Ipswich Town have made too many changes. Basically that's what I was saying, Luke. I agree with you 100%. Palace lost their best creative player. Yes, they did, but you can't. They've still got Geu, England defender. You can't. If your team is relying on one player, there's something wrong with your management and the structure at the club. Yes, we have lost Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Would we have done any better with him in the team? I don't know. I'm not blaming on what we're doing on that. I know what you're saying, Easy, but if you're relying on one player, then that's not good. That's not good for the team. Would love Moyes back? I bet you would. I thought he was going to get the Scottish job. Everton and Leicester are mirrors right now. Both managers doing the same. Both fans biting their nails as a result of the last good element is underrated during these times. Done a miracle with West Ham getting them into Europe. Yeah, and I've got to say as well, three managers I wanted at Leicester at the start of the season, and I'm going to say one of them was Cooper, one of the other ones was Moyes. So I rate him. I rate him as well. It's also the perfect time for him to go back, as he's had it. Yeah, okay. Wolves, the 4th team that haven't got anywhere. I had Wolves finishing 18th, so I had them down as relegation favourites. In the bottom 3. And so far, they haven't disappointed. Lost the last 4 games. The 1 point they've had was a draw, and that was against Nottingham Forest, which I don't know. I mean, they've scored 9. They've conceded 21. They're on minus 12. Now, when you look at Leicester, we're on minus 3. That, if you're comparing already South, and I know we've got some big games coming up, but Arsenal beat us 4-2. That was only a 2-goal difference, and they weren't all over us. Southampton -11, Wolves -12. That could cost them. That is what could cost them. Believe it or not, they've also got an F from Brad as well for their start this season. Yeah, some ones I disagree with there. So that's what we think. Can I just say, as well as getting Matt Letitia next Thursday, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I was going to do it at half time, but we had to rush through because of Brad. But Hawkstone cider, I like it. Jeremy and Caleb, if you're watching this, I gave the opportunity to the Thatchers. They didn't take me up on it. If you want to come in and sponsor the show, I will have one of these on every show and I will promote your cider. It is a very, very nice cider. 500ml bottles, which is better than a lot. 5% volume, which is nice. And it does actually taste very nice. I know Jeremy's the lager fan, and I know that Caleb is the cider man, but that is very nice. I've got 6 of them in the fridge. Well, I've got 5 now because I've drunk that one. Arrived today. But there we go. Has Fatawu loved facing the Saints? James, hi James, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you. Missed the podcast while you were away. Some people liked it. Well, that Brad instead of me. But there we go. Just sorted my Southampton away tickets. Praying for a Vardy goal. I can get a ticket. Have they still got tickets available for Southampton away? Ipswich next away, hopefully. 3 points. Yeah. And FM says, in good news, the NHL has started again. So my second love, the Toronto Maple Leafs, are about to have another year of hurt. Please save me, City. Well, if you're relying on City this season to save you, mate, yeah, you're in trouble. Yes, mate, re-release for members. Have a look now. I will indeedy. All right, then. That's the show. Thank you very, very much. No, I'm a member. I'm not a season ticket holder. I have got one up there somewhere, a season ticket, but yeah, it's been a while. Money and not working and all that. So 7 games gone. We've got another international break coming up in November, apparently. Thanks for letting me know that one, Brad. What the hell? I mean, like I say, I'd sooner play Nations League than all these stupid friendlies when we're playing Albania and what have you. But really, let's have proper football. Premier League. England, yeah, if we get to a tournament, and we should always get to the tournaments because that's how the groups are set up, so that UEFA and FIFA have the best teams and the biggest teams there. They'll lose a lot of money if England don't get there. Not saying that they're bad, but when you're playing teams like Albania and San Marino, we should be getting into the finals. Thank you very much, FM. Very decent of you to say so. Goal difference is huge. It certainly is, Ray. And I'm glad we don't have players on national duty. To be honest with you, like I say, I only got back on Monday. Jet lag's a bitch. I'm sleeping so well at night. That hasn't affected me. But I'm also sleeping during the day. I'm doing on average 12 hours sleep a day. But there we go. Such is life. Guys, thank you so very, very much. Thanks to Brad for coming in and joining us. We may well do a watch along for the women's game on Sunday. I don't know yet. I'll see if I can get hold of it, but I might do a watch along for that. We lost to Palace the other weekend, a newly promoted team. But there we go. So thank you very much to everybody that's been in the chat. Appreciate it. Thanks to Brad, like I say. Thank you to all that's watched and those that have listened via their favourite podcast player, if that is how you are listening to us. If you're a member, thank you very much for getting your support. And if you want to join, it's only $1.99 a month. Details below on the YouTube channel. I've just rejoined StreamYard because I didn't get on with Eve Mux, but between the two of them, I've had to pay over £400, nearly £500 for a year's subscription to them. So any support that you can give is much appreciated. $1.99, and you can even come on the channel for that. You can even come on the channel. Thanks, Nate. Thanks so much. So it's just $1.99. Good value, even in these hard times. Our next show, well, I don't know when our next show will be, but we're definitely going to be doing one on Tuesday, and that is the debate show. It'll be me and Kate on that. And the next Thursday, like I say, if you didn't see it earlier, next Tuesday, Matt Letitia will be joining me for the match preview of Southampton versus Leicester. Thanks so much to everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's nice to be back. I lie. I've soon to be in Australia. I'm sorry. It's done nothing but piss down since I've been back. Absolutely. When I got back, I was fucking freezing. And I got off that plane, and it did nothing but piss down totally. Got some good news, though, which I hope to be able to share with you soon. Thank you all very, very much. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you haven't done that either. And if you're new, excuse me, please subscribe. I will see you, if I don't see you before, on Tuesday. Take care. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend, everybody. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.